In my 27 years of experience, I find more often than not, financial reps wing their approach language. They do that simply because they're comfortable with it and it's something that they've just always done. But they don't necessarily measure whether or not it is effective. And I believe that that needs to happen. And so therefore, this video was all about bringing intentionality to those first 10 minutes. I want to teach you the process that I feel can make a dramatically different result in that new client meeting. So at this point, you might think we're going to start with the handshake and what we say right at the beginning of a new client meeting. But I want to take a step back and I want to go to your mindset. And I also want to go as far as saying it's the most important of the three. If you can get your mindset correct, you've got 90% of the job done. The mindset for me is broken into three components. The first is confidence. And what I mean by that is humble confidence. We're not talking about arrogance. We're not talking about being conceited. We're certainly not talking about cockiness, but we're talking about humble confidence. First and foremost, in the confidence in you. And what I mean by that is your integrity, your honesty, your trustworthiness, your belief that you're going to follow through and follow up. You're going to show up on time. You're going to always do what's right for the client. That fills you up with confidence in you. The second element that brings confidence is the theory of abundance versus scarcity. Let's face it, the country we live in, there is a plethora of opportunity. Your marketplace is unlimited. Unfortunately, in our country, very few people save the way they need to save. Almost nobody has a plan. They haven't addressed their insurance needs, and there is an unlimited supply of people out there. And therefore, what that really means is it means that this new client in your meeting needs you more than you need them. And last but not least, I feel is the most important and separates the best from all the rest, and that is being selfless versus selfish. In other words, all the teaching I do starts with the financial rep before every meeting, leaving their needs at the door. It's not about you. It's not about the next contest that you need to qualify for, recognition that you're chasing, or commissions that you're trying to earn. It's about having an insatiable appetite of really getting to know their story and understand them. Now that we've got the right mindset, before we actually go into the handshake and the approach, I want to talk about two other elements. One of them is location. I don't think you can accomplish what you really want to accomplish in a public environment, especially that's noisy and busy, i.e. a Starbucks cafe or a Panera Bread or something like that. So kind of like a sports team where you have a home field advantage, work as hard as you can to set that field and that environment up. Something like your office or their office or a conference room. So that's important to try. And secondly is small talk. You know, the purpose of small talk is just to create a bridge from the initial handshake until the professional business dialogue. I want that to be 2, at best 3 minutes long. What happens when you don't do that? I believe that there are 2 negative things that come from that. One is subconsciously, you send a message to that client that you have nothing better to do, that you're not that busy, that you're perfectly willing to waste a lot of time. And second, I think it displays nerves. I feel that most reps get nervous in a new client meeting, and they talk about small talk for way too long until the point where their anxiety is low enough that they can shift into the professional dialogue. That's not effective. 2 minutes, 3 minutes top, and then boom, right into your approach. In the first step, what your goal is to help the client understand that you understand that the financial planning business is not a logical business. And although you need to get those facts, it's more about understanding them at a personal level, understanding their story, understanding their struggles. And so therefore, what's different about your first meeting is that you're going to ask them questions nobody's ever asked them before. Now think about that. People get a chance to feel like, wow, he or she really cares about me. They really want to know my story. That's really different and that's really attractive. And you're going to really, at the end of that meeting, truly understand their story and be able to connect the emotional understanding with the logical needs, and that's what makes you different. and they're going to catch that. And trust me, they've never felt or heard that before. I believe that there is a universal question that almost everybody out there asks themselves, and that is, am I going to be okay? Is my family going to be okay? Are my kids going to be able to go to college? When I hit that ripe old age of retirement, are we going to be able to retire? If God forbid we die too soon or become sick or injured or disabled or have long-term care needs, is the family still going to be okay? That's a fairly universal question. So in that second step, you want to explain to your client that they'll never have to ask that question again. That what they'll be able to do is by sitting down with you in that next meeting, you're going to take them out of their busy merry-go-round that we call life. You're going to take them up to 30,000 feet, and you're going to look down on their plan, and you're going to help them have answers to all of those questions. And you're going to explain to them and show them exactly where it is they're going to be and what they need to do to get to where they want to go. And not only that, but what makes you unique, you want to explain to them is the implementation, the strategies that they need to do. You have learned unique ways to be able to make it palatable, and that over a lifetime, you can get them to where they want to go. You essentially want to get them coming to their edge of the chair going, I want that plan. How do I get that plan? You're building desire in that second step. And then that third meeting, that's called the annual review. Now, in its most simplistic definition, I believe almost every financial services rep out there tells their client at a new appointed client that they get together with them and they have an annual meeting. But when we read surveys in financial planning magazines, we find that that's not the truth. Less than 5% is what I've seen of people who actually bought products from a financial representative meet with that representative on a consistent basis over and over. And I believe it's less than 20% ever even see them again. And if your client is worth anything, they know that and they feel that. So in this step, you want to let them know that in your practice, every single client has an annual review with you. But you also understand that the purpose of the annual review isn't just to give them an update and show them, hey, here's where your assets have grown to. Here's where your insurance plan is. They can look that up on the internet. They don't need you to do that. What the purpose of that annual review is to understand that the art of financial security planning is a journey of 20, 30, 40 years. And when you sit down with your clients on that annual review, they slowly but surely see the light at the end of that tunnel getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And yet their belief that they're finally going to be okay, as long as their wagon is hitched to your train, is something that brings them confidence. And believe me, that is attractive. So now let's assume we've done those 3 steps. I want to get a little positive affirmation. After I've explained that, I want to say, so Mrs. Prospect, that's the process I use. Do you feel comfortable with that? To the extent that she says yes, now it's engaging in deep questions. So what I like to train are these 4. What I do for a living is financial planning, and therefore it's critically important that I understand what money means to you. So let's go back to your earliest childhood memories and tell me, what did you learn about money from mom and dad? And I listen, and I ask clarifying questions because I care about the answers. The next question I say are mom and dad still living? If they say yes, then I say, tell me about their financial situation today. And once again, I listen. And then the next question can go one of 2 directions. If they tell me that mom and dad are financially secure and are doing very well, then I simply want to say, what is it that you observed from them? What is it that you learned from them that you want to make certain that you duplicate in your planning? If they say mom and dad are a train wreck and that they're probably going to have to support them, then what I want to say is, what is it that you observe that you absolutely want to avoid in your planning? And last but not least, probably one of my favorite questions that really gets clients to think is, say, hypothetically, Mrs. Prospect, if I was sitting here 30 years from today, and if I was asking these same questions to your children, how would you want them to answer those questions? So there you have it. You implement that mindset, you implement that approach, and you implement those questions. I promise you, the first 10 minutes of a new client meeting will be transformationally changed. Good luck to you.